Here we go.
Hi, Ramon. How's it
Hi,
going?
Laura. I'm good. Good. How are you?
Good. Doing well, thanks.
Glad to hear it. Wait, I'm playing somewhere. Sorry. I always leave a tab open every time.
Gotcha.
Starting a little late today. Sorry about that, folks. Just having some technical difficulties getting started, but we are good. Yeah. Ooh, I'm excited to continue doing some
Yes.
WebAssembly. How's we've been at this for a while now, Laura. How's it
We
been feeling
have.
for you in general? I'd love to do a little check-in.
It's been really good, So I've been learning more about WebAssembly during this whole process, like also separately from what we've been doing on the streams. And then there are moments of, oh yeah, that's like when we did the thing on the stream.
Yep.
And so on. So little light bulb flashes, very small bulbs like Christmas tree bulbs, just like
I mean, as long as they illuminate, we're good, right?
yeah. How about you?
Yeah, it's been cool. It's been cool. It's been especially because I've been doing like different streams, like some with I did a stream with Connor a few weeks ago where we did some WebAssembly with Ruby, and I've
Mm-hmm.
been learning some stuff there in terms of, for example, how you can have stuff like a file system, like a virtual file system inside WebAssembly, which is wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's been a quick Twitter announcement. Laura and I are live. Come hang and co-work and tell us how we can improve. Little sparkle emoji, and we're good. Yeah, it's been cool. Yeah, and we've been going pretty diligently through this tutorial, and today we're gonna be. Hey, Philippe is here. Hey, Philippe, good to see you.
Yay, hi Philippe.
Hey, love it. Good to see you here. Yeah, shall we go ahead and do some screen share? I hope the dog isn't annoying. Sorry about that.
Yes. Let's see. So what do we have here? Oh, did we let's see, last time you were driving, do you know if you pushed your changes?
Oh my goodness. I will check that right away. While I do that, folks, here's a link to the tutorial that we're using. So I'll just paste that into the chat. So, great question. I probably forgot.
Don't see a pull request.
I didn't even do it. Oh, do you know what? This sounds like I might have to screen share for just a touch
Sure.
because we gotta do this right. github.com/RamonH/Wasm Game of Life. Okay, share my screen, and then we'll get back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was traveling until yesterday, so I fell a little bit
Yes.
out of the loop, out of the good habits. So here we go. Let's see. I've got to commit. My latest is from April 5th, which is of course out of date. So what I'm going to do is open source Wasm Game of Life, and I do indeed have changes here. So I'm just gonna put those in there. Add stream contents. Push that to main. And I am on your repository. I just need to quickly. I'm sorry about this, folks. Git remote set URL origin. I'll go ahead and no. I'll be quick. There we go. Now let's go ahead and refresh this. Cool. There's my commit from 30 seconds ago. So I will go ahead and open a pull request to your repo. We're adding some missing stuff as well as removing the draw grid and draw cells. That doesn't sound right. No, we can't. This isn't going to work if we remove that. Is it possible that this is missing some of the debug stuff? I know what's up. I'm a mess, Laura. I did this on the laptop last time. Do you mind if I just quickly go get it?
Of course.
It's a good thing I've got the laptop here. Oh, we're doing this. We're doing this live and directly today.
Real life, man.
Yeah. Thanks for your patience, everybody.
Of course.
And while we're at it, let's get a link to that. Let's get that link to the interactivity. Nope, that is a Discord message. My goodness, look at me. I am on top of things today. There we go. All right, let me open up the old laptop. And yeah, what would you mind perhaps just sort of briefly taking us through what we're going to be covering today while I push my changes?
Yeah, I'll share my screen, perhaps.
Go for it.
Go.
I'm going for a nice descriptive commit message here. Add all the things.
Yes. Oh,
Not
Chrome
the
has
ideal
lost
one.
permission to capture your screen. Oh, I'm gonna have to come out and come back in, aren't I?
Oh, we are
All the things. I don't know
all
why
the
Chrome lost permission.
all fine.
Chrome
We've
needs
got
to
time
keep
here.
track of its stuff better, I guess. Losing things.
Yeah, I think there was an
Okay.
update to
I'll be
macOS
back.
recently. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. I'm just gonna quickly push my changes. Hello, folks. It's just me for a little bit. So git remote set URL origin and then my URL. Then I'm gonna rebase, git pull with a rebase. Then push my changes up. Now we can make a pull request. Yeah. We are going full chaos today. I love it. So there we go. 16 seconds ago. Now we're good to open a pull request. And then we can see what we've got. There we go. That's where we added. So last week, what we covered was adding access to the console. So we added this log macro here. And Laura's back. Hey, Laura.
Hello.
I got it.
Yay.
We're back. We're back. So there's our
Cool.
log. We added our panic. We're going to have to remove that panic when we start today. Added our cells. We refactored some of our code to make it cleaner because like next cell was good, but next cell state is more descriptive as we talked about last time. Yeah. And again, for some reason, we got rid of draw grid and draw cells. So let's remember to add that back if you don't mind. Well, actually, a lot is missing here. Can I change that here? Would that be a bad idea? No, you know what? We'll just remember to do it. Add contents from last week's stream. And I'm going to make this a quick and ugly pull request. Sorry, Laura.
Alrighty. No worries.
Yeah, folks, we're working on the edge here. All right. I'm good to pass the baton back to you if you'd like to share.
Merged. Sure thing.
Nice. There I can see you've merged it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
There's your screen.
So we have merged, and I will pull that over here into mine.
As always, folks, if the screen, the font size is too small, please give us a shout.
Yes.
I think I was just going to say, perfect. Thank you. That looks great.
Okay. Maybe. There we go.
Great.
I think we might actually be ready.
I think we are, yeah.
All right. So what are we doing today?
So today we're going to make our Game of Life interactive. So that means that we're going to add controls to our front end. Well, I guess there is no real back end because everything's in the browser, right? Although this does open up a discussion is like, is the WebAssembly module that we're putting in to our browser, is that front end or back end? Maybe somebody, sorry.
I would think that at the very least, like the Rust that we've written would be the back end? No? Or
well, I think so, but we're running it in the browser.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're running it in the how do you define a front end and a back end? I would say that a front end is what runs in the browser, right? I would love if somebody in the chat is watching and has a better idea than us to please chime in. Because I don't actually know. Yeah, but so essentially we're going to be adding controls, things like play pause button. This is going to like start and stop the game of life. But what's even more interesting is we're also going to be add the ability to click on individual cells to toggle them.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah.
So with all that
Toggle them
said,
alive versus dead.
oh, sorry. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing that. So to get started, we're going to start at our JavaScript. Sorry,
Mhm.
in our bespoke front end. And yeah, we're going to be adding a button. So just above the canvas in our body on between lines 20 and 21. So above our canvas, I see that glorious Vim keys, and I get so happy.
Mm.
Yeah, we're going to be adding a button with the ID play-pause. And then we'll close that tag. And with that, the button. I think you can remove, yeah, exactly. And while we're here, Laura, shall we pop into the JavaScript file and restore what I accidentally deleted?
Sure.
Index.js, if you scroll down, and again, folks, if you're watching and the screen size and the font size needs to be bigger, please let us know. So after line 68, we've got universe.tick. Let's add the function calls of draw grid and draw cells in one line after the other. Perfect. And then in the next line, we'll do draw cells. And then below, I think that's a full call. Yeah, nice. And then below that, we're going to call set timeout. There you can see the third suggestion there. Perfect. And it'll take as a parameter an arrow function. So another set of brackets.
Wait, which kind of brackets?
Okay. Sorry, smooth brackets.
Okay.
Yeah, and outside those brackets, so one column over, yeah, we'll do an arrow with an equal sign and a bigger than. Perfect. And then open up some curly braces. Hit enter. And then inside that, we'll put in the contents from line 75. So we'll essentially, yeah, delete that and move it over. Perfect. And then we'll need to set the actual amount of time in between each frame. So in between the closing curly bracket and the closing smooth bracket, we'll add our second parameter. So comma, and then 100. That's going to make it go every 100 seconds.
All right.
Yep, that's perfect. Now we're back where we started.
And we maybe need a semicolon
here. Perfect. Perfect. So now we are good to hop back on. So I'm just going to read out the tutorial. So we're going to make the following changes in index.js. We will keep track of the identifier returned by the latest call to request animation frame so that we can cancel the animation by calling cancel animation frame with that identifier. When the play pause button is clicked, check for whether we have the identifier for a queued animation frame. If we do, then the game is currently playing, and we want to cancel the animation frame so that render loop isn't called again, effectively pausing the game. If we do not have an identifier for a queued animation frame, then we are currently paused, and we would like to call a request animation frame to resume the game. Now, this is a lot going on in here. What it boils down to, would you mind scrolling down, please? Perfect, right there. Yeah. So what we're doing here is keeping track of which frame was rendered, so that when we click the button, it stops, and then when we click it again, it stops. It starts again.
That
Now,
makes sense.
this is stuff we're going to be doing exclusively exclusively inside the inside the front end, inside the JavaScript. So we won't actually be interacting with our WebAssembly comma just yet.
Okay.
That I know of. I think we will be, but let's carry on. So we're going to be, if you could scroll down a little bit more. Yeah. So we're going to be keeping track, as said, of this animation ID with this variable called animation ID. So above the declaration of the render loop function, let's declare a variable, a mutable variable. So it'll be let animation ID. And because this is JavaScript, this will be camel case. And set that to be null. Perfect.
Ready?
Then in line 75, we set animation ID to be equals what this request animation frame function returns. So I would assume this will be some kind of identifier, be it a number, be it, and we might even want to debug what that is. But for now, let's just assume it's some kind of ID. Sound good?
So why do we have in our render loop function here, we have set timeout, and they don't?
That's because we added it a few streams ago.
Okay.
The reason that we added it was because the frames were going too fast, and for some
Oh,
folks
it was
that might
making
have
me
been
sick. That's right.
it was going too fast. Yeah. So we added that.
Cool.
To, instead of doing animation frames itself, we were instead saying, like, just wait 100 milliseconds before doing the next request for an animation frame. But good to check on that. Thank you. Yeah. So then after that, we're going to declare a function to check if the game is paused. So below line 81, let's declare a new function. So that'll be const, and then the name of the function will be isPaused. And what this is going to do is return a Boolean, animation ID, 3 equals null.
3 equals. I like that.
I don't know where I got it from, but I learned it a few years ago, and I can't let go of it. It's essentially triple equals.
Yeah.
I like it. So, and I wonder, could we walk through how you would know that it's paused?
What is it? Oh, I know what is happening.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. How do we know it's paused?
Yeah. So what's it doing here?
Ooh, this is a pop quiz. Okay.
I wouldn't call it a pop quiz. It's more like, let's interpret it together.
Yeah. Okay. So we're returning the value of animi. Well, okay. So what does 3 equals mean in JavaScript?
What does what mean? Sorry.
The 3 equals, is that a Boolean?
Yeah, it's checking. So the difference between are you asking what the difference is between double equals and triple equals, or
I
what?
suppose
Sorry.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar in concept to double equals. So it's
Mhm.
checking if two things are equal, except
Okay.
that the three equal says like check that they're equal, but let's be strict about it. What I mean is, if you have a string with with the number one and the number one, these both of these objects, right? The string one and the number one are different types.
Yeah.
One is a string, the other one's a number.
Mhm.
However, if you compare them with the double equals, what the JavaScript engine will do is what's called a type coercion. It'll And
Oh.
by coercion, it's just like in real life. It'll just be like, go on, then you're a string to the number,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
Like kind of a nudge, right? Whereas the
Gotcha.
strict one, the three equals, is like, no, 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 no. We're making 100% sure that this is a number one and this is a
Mhm.
string one. So that
Mhm.
would return false. The double equals would return true.
Right. Okay. So here we're saying this is almost an and we could write this as an longer as an if statement. So if animation ID is null, then what is that going to do? We're going to be in this paused situation, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're not actually calling it yet. Oh, Flacky's here. Hi, Flacky. He's saying, I wasn't here for that stream, but I'm here for the quote, putting set timeout in front of request animation frame shenanigans. I mean, that's what they are, right? We're doing shenanigans here.
Hmm.
Um, and Flaky says it much better than I could hope to. JavaScript is weird and will try to convert different types with double equals. With three equals, you say things of different types can never be equal.
Right. Right. Okay.
So in essence, what we're checking here is whether animation ID is null.
Hmm.
That's what this function will do. We can call it
Yep.
at any time and be like, are you null? If
Hmm.
so, we are paused.
Hmm. Makes sense.
Cool. So next, what we're going to do is oh yeah, if you could scroll down, please. Next, what we're going to do is actually implement that pausing and playing functionality.
Right.
So first, what we're going to do, and I say let's put it a bit higher, maybe at line 65. No, you know
Why is
what?
that?
Let's put it. Oh, no, I don't actually know. I'm kind of
Okay.
doing this live here. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where would be best to place it. I like to group my code. It seems like line 84, right? Where it says
Mhm.
request animation frame. That's going to be like when we're done, once we've declared everything, this is what you're going to do.
Mhm.
So maybe it makes sense to put it between lines 82 and 83.
Okay.
Yeah, before the request animation frame. So we're going to declare a variable that holds a reference to our play pause button.
I might
Folks in the
just
chat. Oh, sorry.
copy and paste what's in here because there's a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah. Folks in the chat, if you disagree, please feel free. Or if you agree and want to tell me, Ramon, you're right, or I like your idea, like please let's this is a stream and not a video for a reason.
Mhm.
Cool. Thanks, Laura. So what do we got here? Do you want to walk through this together?
Sure. Yeah. So in our first one here, so we're creating our actual button itself, and it's going to have this content of that's interesting. That little icon emoji, whatever you'd
Mm-hmm.
call it. It's interesting that you can just pass it.
Yeah, we're setting the text content of that play pause button element, HTML element.
Mhm.
So the inside of the HTML element, we're setting it to be that pause emoji.
Yeah, I'm fascinated that you can pass an emoji, not like
The
some
Unicode.
ASCII code to the
Mm-hmm.
emoji or something, but the emoji itself. That's
Right.
interesting.
I mean, now I'm not an expert on encoding stuff, so again, folks in the chat, please feel free to correct me. But emojis are Unicode, right?
Mhm. Right. Okay.
So essentially what we're passing in is some Unicode,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. Okay. And
Sorry,
then
let's
we're
carry on.
going to, yeah. So we've got our pause button text content. So we've got two different options, right? There's play and there's pause. And somewhat counterintuitively, the function, this is a function, right? This const play, that's a function. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's the arrow function. Philippe says emojis are the way. I agree.
Somewhat counterintuitively, the play function is the one that gives the or assigns the text content of pause,
Hmm.
and the pause function assigns the text content of play.
Yeah. You know why?
I'm guessing it's in an order of events situation.
Right, because when you press play, right, you press the play button. The next time you press it, it's going to pause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it makes sense for it to have that, for it to change to be a pause button.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. And then we're resetting our animation ID to null.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're good to go. And so then we need to have a click event so that if our event listener detects a click event and we're in an is paused state, then we need to switch to play. Otherwise, we must already be in play, and so we need to switch to pause.
Exactly.
Make sense?
Yeah. Cool. So, ah, so if you could scroll down, please. So what we did previously at the end was call request animation frame. You see that in line 106.
Mm-hmm.
But what we want to be doing now is calling the play function. Because what this does is start the render loop, but also set the button to display the pause button, the pause icon,
Mm-hmm.
emoji,
Mm-hmm.
pardon me. So let's replace line 106 with a call to the play function.
Wait. Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm just stuck on this. So we're
Going to replace line 106 where we start the
yeah.
animation to instead call the play function.
Yeah, I'm just tripping up on this. Where did it go? It says this comment. This used to be request animation frame render loop dot play.
Where? Sorry.
Where does it this here?
Yeah.
What does that mean used to be? Because we don't have a dot play going on here.
Oh no, I think if you expand
Is
your
that
browser a little bit, if you widen
oh.
it a little bit, you'll see those are two different lines. You see?
Oh. Gotcha.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
But good checking. Perfect. So
Mhm.
one more change we need to do before we can test this, because next we're going to be able to test this, is we need to change our WebAssembly just ever so briefly. Because you remember last week when we wrapped up, we added a panic.
Right. Okay.
So let's go into our source, src, librs. And then I believe, by the way, folks, once again, I hope the font size is okay. If it's too small, please let us know. Line 60. Oh, yeah. Nice. So
We're just
I
going to
would,
get rid of this line? Or
yep, you can just do that.
okay.
Exactly. Nice. Cool. So now we can do Wasm build, and then we can fire up our web server.
Okay, do Wasm build. So in our terminal. Okay.
Now, before you do that, could you do me a favor and just and please move your terminal up? Like grab the window and
Yes.
pull it up, and I'll say when.
Oops.
Oh. Ah, perfect. Yeah, because otherwise our faces are blocking it.
Mhm. Okay, so now we need.
So that would be wasm-pack build. So this is the is it wasm pack?
Oh. So this is going to be like the 5th time on this series of streams that one of us is using a different machine than we've been using previously, and so we have to do things again.
Okay, well, let's do it.
So we should get really good at it.
I think we've got it down pat after this.
Right.
Question 1: do you have Rust installed?
Oh,
Let's
see.
do a
Would
Rust
it be
C.
like? Oh, sorry.
Do a Rust C. That's the Rust compiler. Yeah.
Okay.
Then space, and then the V flag. So -V. Okay, so we're installing Rust.
All right.
So,
is that an npm install or?
Nope. What we're gonna do is in our tutorial,
Mm.
go all the way back up and then go to in setup 4.1.
Sorry, everybody.
All good. We'll get this. So first we'll actually, before we do wasm pack, we need to first do install Rust.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's that command we were talking about on the book club. It detects that you're on a Mac and it goes like, hey, I gotcha. Here's your command for Rust. So while that's running, let's go ahead and go back to the tutorial and grab that wasm pack installation command.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one. Oh, I would say press a 1. Let's give it the default installation.
Mm-hmm.
It's always interesting. Pardon?
Clippy. We're downloading a component called Clippy.
Are you familiar with
of
Clippy?
course, of Microsoft's Clippy.
I could be wrong, but I believe it's named after that. It's like a...
I mean, it would kind of have to be, right? Yeah. I mean, Clippy is an icon.
I don't know if it's built into the compiler.
I mean, sort of literally an icon, but also iconic.
Yeah, it's also icon. And I believe Microsoft is adding it to their official emoji set for the paperclip.
I want it.
I think so.
I have great affection for Clippy.
Yeah. So while that's running, that's probably going to take a little while. Shall we head back to the tutorial just to get back to where just to get back to our place and sort of read ahead a little bit? Maybe you could click on the burger menu to hide it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, yeah. Flaky says here, fun fact, the TLS v1.2 stuff in curl ensures that you use a secure connection to the installation script. There you go.
Oh, interesting.
So because it installed, did it install the TLS stuff? I wonder. I kind of missed that.
Could Wasm Pack be downloading in a separate terminal window, or is it dependent upon Rust already being finished?
I do think it needs Rust.
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Oh, speaking of which.
Oh, we had this thing too.
How did we do it again? We did something. How did we do that? I think we just
consulted Stack Overflow, I believe.
Yeah, let me see. Terminal. What is it? No pre-compiled binaries for CPU architecture ARM64. And we had a command. Oh, yes. What we did was instead of doing the regular curl, we did cargo install wasm pack. But because we just installed Rust in this terminal session, this should fail. Let's do it.
Okay.
Command not found cargo. That's because we installed it, but our terminal doesn't know it exists yet. So
Mhm.
actually, if you see in that output, there's a configure your current shell command. Just like Rust is now installed, then there's a paragraph, and below that there's to configure your current shell.
Uh-huh.
There's a command there, source home cargo env. What this is doing, it's like kind of resetting your terminal.
Mhm.
It should be done now to take the current environment variables into account. And Flaky says it absolutely is named about Clippy. It kind of does the same thing. Helpfully suggests how to improve your Rust code,
Oh.
which I love. It's
Yes.
magnificent.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, how about, because that's going to take a little bit.
Mhm.
Shall we have a look at what we'll be doing next in the terminal? In the
Sure.
tutorial?
Mhm.
Yeah, so now that we can pause the game, it's time to add the ability to mutate the cells by clicking on them. And so what we're going to be doing is adding a function to toggle a cell.
Mhm.
And if you see that, that's going to be a function we're going to add to the cell implementation, the impl. Yep, I think here's
Oh,
good.
wait, did I pass it? No. Oh.
Oh no, sorry, this is a private implementation. I think we're going to have to add this implementation declaration.
Okay.
So if we scroll up,
Uh-huh.
I would say after the declaration of the universe.
Okay.
Yeah, line 37. Let's add it, start adding it there.
Okay.
So we'll add the impl for cell. And there we're going to add a new function called toggle, which takes as a parameter a mutatable reference to self. Self in this case being the cell itself.
Mm-hmm.
And this is interesting. We're going to set self with the star to be, and this is where we use a match. We're going to do some pattern matching here to check what to do depending on self itself. Does that make sense?
It's a little wonky, but sure.
What we're going to do is check what the value of self is and change it accordingly. So,
Getting ahead of myself.
oh, I think you've got an extra space in there.
Yeah.
So in the case, so we've defined one case here. In case self, which is a cell, z value is dead, we set self to be alive. For our second case, if it's alive, we toggle it to be dead. How's that looking?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward toggle, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we check on our terminal?
Yep, looks like we're good to
nice.
go.
Which means we can do Wasm pack build now. And this is probably going to take a little while as well.
Okay.
So I'd say let's continue.
Mm-hmm.
So to toggle the state of a cell at a given row and column, we translate the row and column pair into an index into the cells vector. So this is going to be a new function we'll be adding to our Wasm exposed universe.
Uh-huh. So that's this one.
That's the one. So I'd say at line 91, after our new, we can add this function. So this will be a public function.
Okay.
And it'll be called toggle cell, which will take two parameters. The first one, like Python, is, the self itself, And then it'll take the row and column, which are both unsigned 32-bit integers. And the first thing we're going to do is get that index from the row and column. Because the reason we're doing that is because instead of having a two-dimensional array, as you might expect, of cells, in our WebAssembly, in order to make the memory easily transferable, we've declared them as a single long array that we then access using our getIndex function, which does some fancy maths to get that for us. We then call toggle on the cell at that index. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. So I'd even go as far as to say we might be done with our WebAssembly stuff.
Oh, yeah?
I think line 95, you added an extra closing curly bracket.
Oh, I was matching to what's here.
Ah.
And so that meant, yeah.
Gotcha.
There we go.
Gotcha. There we go. Cool. Shall we head back to our terminal?
Oh, dear.
What do we got? We've got a duplicate definition with name cells. So on line 100 and 108, we've got a duplicate of the function cells.
Ah.
And this might be what I messed up by not pushing correctly. So I would, because you see, we also see it on line 113.
Mm-hmm.
So
we only need one of these.
We only need one of those. Cool. Shall I try and build it again?
Mm-hmm.
And it's installing Wasm Bindgen.
Right. We're getting a warning because we are now not using our set panic hook, but that's okay.
Exactly. Absolutely. Totally fine. So I think we can go back to our JavaScript. Ooh, we're doing some stuff here. Oh, and that's done too. Shall we test the play and pause button before we continue?
Sure.
Yeah, awesome. Then let's
see. Let's do that.
Do you remember how to fire up the web server? All good. Let's CD into the www folder.
Who's in here?
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Sorry, I might be experiencing some lag. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah. So let's do an npm install. So that's going to install all the stuff.
I can never keep track of when we do npm run, npm run start, npm run build. I don't have those quite mapped.
Oh, I can show you if you like. If you want to go into the
Ooh,
www
sure.
folder into our package JSON.
Uh-huh. Get a new one.
Oh, sorry, I meant in VS Code.
Oh, I thought you said CD.
My bad. My bad.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Uh-huh.
And then if you open up the package JSON file,
Right.
you'll see that there's something called scripts in there.
Right.
And there you can see the two of them on line 9 and
Okay.
10 and 11. Those are
Mhm.
defined by us developers, right? So sometimes we call it
Right.
npm run build, npm run dev. And I think start is special. That lets you that it allows you to just say npm start
Okay.
and it'll run the start script. I could be wrong.
Mhm. Okay. So let's see. Back in here, we can close this one now. All right. So
And
now we
say,
can npm run build.
I think we can just npm start.
Oh,
Yeah. And it's running in localhost 8080.
oh. Let's see.
So that's a colon and then 8080.
Running.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Oh, and we have our little button.
Let's give it a try.
It's way small. Oh, hang on. Somebody's talking to me. I'm having the same problem that you were. Where is something talking? Oh.
Oh.
I know where it is. There we go. Yeah, so we have our teeny tiny little pause button right here.
Yeah,
that has no discernible effect.
And I think this is because of our delay, I'm afraid. You know that set timeout thing?
Mm-hmm.
Could we try commenting that out? I know it's going to look really bad,
That's
and I
fine.
apologize
I just won't
in
look
advance.
at it.
Sorry.
Oh, that's in JavaScript, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we were here.
So let's comment out lines 74, 76, and 77.
Yeah. And comments in here are
double. Yep. I think you can also press command and / on a line to comment it out.
okay. Yep. That's the one.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Okay. Well, good. So it works.
I would say let's restore it. We know that our pausing and playing works. We can maybe if we have some time at the end, we can try and get it working nice with our yeah. But for now, let's add a click event listener to our canvas.
And since this is also quite a lot of text,
Mm-hmm.
I will just copy and paste it. So that would be in our
JavaScript.
Oh, no, that is in JavaScript. Okay. And where is our canvas?
Flacky's got a suggestion that I think is going to help.
Mm-hmm.
You can make that less janky if you wrap render loop into a function and only update it on every nth call of request animation frame. Sort of having a countdown, right, Flaky, as a parameter? I agree. That sounds better.
Okay.
We'll do that. We'll do that after we're done with the interactivity here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you can call it at line 16. You can declare it,
Okay.
pardon me. Perfect. Shall we walk through this?
Yes.
Oh, actually, Flocky's idea is better than mine. Store a monotonically increasing counter in a variable and only call render loop on every nth invocation. Yeah, sorry. Let's thank you, Flocky. Let's take a look at this. So we're adding a click listener to our canvas element, which you remember stores is the where everything is drawn.
Mm-hmm.
Let's walk through the rest.
Okay.
So
Right. So we've got our. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, please.
Our bounding rectangle. So that'll be the rectangle going around our grid.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm slightly interested that we need that. I suppose it must be because of the white cells.
Yeah,
Right? Because the white cells don't have a visible boundary.
Right. We want to get the full
Yeah.
rectangle that.
Yeah, because otherwise it would look like there were little holes along the edges. It wouldn't look like a smooth edge.
Exactly. We're using that boundary rect in lines 20 and 21 to calculate the scale. So that's the scale of the game.
Uh-huh.
How's that sound?
Well, let's see. Okay. I mean, I guess that's because we created the interactivity already where the user determines the scale of the game, essentially, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, but that's not the same as here. I think this is more of a geometrical scale. Because essentially what we're doing in here in between lines 18 and 24, I believe. Yes. We're going to use these to calculate which cell the user clicked on. Essentially, when we click, we get a pair of coordinates, right? So we're going to use these, and Flocky's telling us you need the bounding rect because you don't know how big, how many pixels wide or tall your canvas will be on the user's browser because it can vary by device.
Okay. That makes sense.
Exactly. So we're going to use those to determine. Thank you so much, Flacky.
Yeah.
We're going to use that to determine which cell we clicked on. And that's where we get on lines 26 and 27. Lines 26 and 27. Right. Which row we clicked on and which column.
Yep. Right. And so the reason that we need scaling is because the width and the height, that's the number of cells in the width and the height, but that's not the number of pixels. Yeah. That's what Flocky was getting at, and that makes complete sense.
And exactly, it says here, so this gives you the position and dimensions of the canvas, so you can correlate it to the click. You see on line 23 and 24, we get event.clientx and event.clientY. That's where the user clicked, correlating it to the canvas. Thank you. Then on line 29, we do the actual toggling.
Right.
And then we redraw our cells, our grid, and our cells to reflect that change.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. Before we test that, though, let's fix our let's fix our drawing so that it only does it every 100 frames.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that we can pause it.
Uh-huh.
So if you scroll down to, yeah, here we go.
Mhm.
Let's go with Flacky's idea. I like it.
Okay.
So we're going to declare a new variable on line 86 called, I don't know, render countdown.
Mhm.
Set that to be 100. Now, at the beginning of the line, we still need to declare that it's a let because it's going to be a mutable variable.
Okay.
Let's remove lines 93, 95, and 96. Like delete them for good. Wait, sorry. Could you undo real quick?
Yeah, because we want to
We
keep
still
this
need-
animation ID, right?
Yeah, we want to keep line 94. Exactly.
Okay.
Now, let's add an if statement between lines 92 and 93. Oh, I would actually put that tab back in, if I may suggest.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because we're gonna call that inside an if statement.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Mhm.
So if, and then in brackets, our countdown is more than 0. Then we open a curly bracket. Then we will, yeah, do that.
Put that in the if statement, right?
No, wait.
Oh, no.
I just realized I'm doing this wrong.
Oh.
Sorry. If render countdown is equals to 0, so double or triple equals,
Uh-huh.
then we do the render. That one there. My bad.
No worries. Uh-huh.
Then we will also, I would say, so a couple things we need to do. First, we need to, every time we call render loop, we need to decrement render countdown.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Where do you think it makes the most sense to do it?
Well, I mean, if it's our if statement, we only do anything if it is 0, which means it has to have already done quite a bit of decrementing, right? So it would need to go through in the loop, right? Outside of the if statement, in other words.
Oh,
No?
I think so. Sorry. I agree. But Flaky says you will need to do this inside the request animation frame callback. So you will need to wrap render loop. What do you mean by wrap, Flaky? I'd love to know what he means. In the meantime, we'll need to wrap this in the request animation frame callback. So you'll need to do this inside. Yeah, I'm not sure I know what you mean. Let's, in the meantime, if I may, do this anyway. So yes, I agree. Do it before. Decrement it before.
Okay, and then is there a like variable minus minus situation in
Yep,
JavaScript? Okay.
there is.
Okay.
Then we'll if the render countdown has reached 0, we'll want to I'm sorry. We'll want to reset the counter.
Okay. And would this be, do we need to use let here, or we can just say render
No.
countdown gets?
Yeah.
Okay.
that looks good. And we got a reply from Flaky here. What you want to do is out of that 60 calls, only call render loop 6 times, which will make the animation 10 times slower. So use a 10 call timer. I'm sorry, Flaky. I'm not fully. Maybe I'm not. Do you? How about you, Laura?
Nope.
I'm so sorry, Flaky. I
Got
don't
nothing.
follow. Like mine is a super. Like this is a super hacky way to do it, and it's probably not going to work. I would say, let's try it, and also let's try and get it working Flacky's way as well.
Okay.
So I think we're good.
Okay. So we'll just npm start again.
I think it's already running.
No, it should already be running. So.
Oh, but look at that. Could you maybe refresh?
Okay.
Aha. So that's not working at all.
Hmm.
And I think this is where Flaky says request animation frame calls its callback 60 times a second. 60 times. Okay. Oh. Okay. So request animation framework frame calls its callback 60 times a second. Right? That's the normal, that's the usual refresh rate of a screen.
Uh-huh.
And we only do that here in. So I think what Flaky is suggesting is that we change request animation frame to, instead of calling render loop, instead the callback will be its own function. Yeah.
It's which function? I'm sorry.
So you see in line 95,
Yeah.
we're in line 95, we are calling request animation frame with render loop. Instead of render loop, we're going to pass an anonymous function. Right?
Okay. What does that look like?
So that would be a function, an arrow function like we've done before. In fact, I think we do that. If you see in, one second, Flaky. If you scroll down, where do we do anonymous functions? Line 118. You see we got add event listener, and add event listener takes 2 parameters. One is the name of the event, which is click. And then the second one is is a function.
Okay.
You see it declared with event. It takes one that function inside takes a parameter called event. And the arrow tells us, okay, the rest is a function.
Okay.
Line 89 is one.
Were we...
Oh yeah, it is. Exactly. So Flaky says you run all this logic inside the callback and only call render loop in some of those callback invocations. That's what you use the timer / countdown for. So exactly. In here, we're going to declare a function with a pair of brackets. And then an arrow. And then curly bracket. Yeah. And here we can keep going. So we can put back in render loop. And here we can do our countdown stuff. So the if statement, lines 93 and 94 will be inside this request animation frame callback.
Okay. Wait. 94.
93 and 94.
Okay. Oh, I see. All right.
You can remove that opening curly brace. So now we place that if statement around between lines 93 and 94.
Okay. Okay. Like this?
Yep, almost done. And then lines 99 and 100 will move below render loop. We'll cover what we're doing here in just a sec.
99 and 100. 99.
98.
Oh,
98
sorry.
and
Oh,
99.
that's because okay. We'll move below render loop.
Render loop. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's happened? We have a. So something is missing. Could you bring back that closing curly bracket you removed?
Mhm.
And on line 95 at the end, add an opening one. I think we want to remove line. Yeah. Okay. So this looks a little different. Like it says, missing opening curly and if. Yep, we just got it. Thank you. So this looks a little different, but it's not dramatically so. Actually, it is dramatic. Well, we'll go through it. So now in render loop, instead of doing the if statement as we're running it, instead we're setting animation ID to be whatever request animation frame returns.
Okay.
Request animation frame used to immediately call render loop.
Mhm.
Request animation frame is also called every 60 times a second.
Uh-huh.
That's based. This is built into the browser to animate.
Mhm.
And since most screens have a refresh rate of 60 frames per second or FPS, this is what's going on, right?
Mhm.
So now every time a frame is rendered, we're doing the countdown.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mhm. I don't feel like this open parens corresponds to anything, does it?
Which one?
It's for request animation frame. Got it.
Oh, all good?
Yeah.
Shall we give it a try?
Mhm.
So let's save that and maybe refresh our Hello Wasm.
Mm.
Can we do that?
Oh, you mean just yeah.
Oh, hold on. Something failed here. I think you want to restart your. Yeah,
Oh.
that's odd. So let's do npm start again. Okay. Let's have a look at our console in the browser. See if there's some errors. Oh, there's our logging. That's good. Are we at the bottom? Let me just take our faces away. Yeah. Okay. DevTools failed. Could not load content. That sounds fine. I wonder, Laura, if could you go back to the code real quick?
Mhm.
I wonder if resetting the counter after we're render looping might be messing something up. Do you maybe want to try
Okay.
switching around lines 96 and 97?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why that feels better. But it could be we need to refresh again.
No, it seems to be happier.
It does?
Oh, well, maybe.
Well, it's
Right?
not updating.
Oh. We don't have an error message now.
True. Okay. Render loop, universe tick, animate, request animation frame. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do what we did last week and pop a debugger.
Oh, it's changing though. Previously, nothing happened when I clicked the button, but now when I click the button, the frame changes.
Yeah, because play is calling. Because if you look at line 109, there it calls render loop directly. Oh, do you know what? Flacky's got a good point here. Try with render countdown equals 2. Maybe it works just too slow. You made it 100 times slower by default.
Okay.
So let's put in a 2 there. But also in line 96. There we go. Now we'll need to refresh. Let's give that a try. So it's still not doing it. But when you play, you see on line 110, it does render a loop, which is good. I think that for some reason, we're not getting to line 96. If render countdown is equals to 0, every time we request an animation frame, we reset the counter to be 2, then we call render loop again. Let's pop a debugger in there. So if you could add between lines 96 and 97, just a debugger.
Okay, and was that
Oh, sorry, no. You want to do that by writing out debugger. I interrupted you. I'm sorry, Laura.
No, then no worries. Okay.
So now we'll have to go back in here and refresh again. Actually, before we do that, let's open up the DevTools. And just keep them there. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, now let's do a refresh with everything in it.
Make that a little bigger too.
Ah, yeah, good call. So we're not making it there, which is odd. So we got render countdown equals 2. We do a minus minus on return countdown, which is good. If render countdown is 0, then we set the render countdown to be 2. We call up a debugger, which should stop us. And then we call render loop. Let's try something else, if I may. Instead of debugger, let's try console log debugging.
Okay. Oh. Every time something changes, it moves the focus to the browser, and then I'm typing in the... Okay, so sorry, that was console log.
Console.log. And then pass it the... Oh.
Go away. Okay. Console.log.
Open bracket.
Debugger?
No, let's put in just any random string.
Oh. Okay.
Something to tell us that it's happening.
The classic. Okay.
Oh. Flaky just said, okay, sorry, I just realized this is all inside render loop. So you call render loop for the first time and you never call it again. He's right.
Okay.
If we follow this, right? We call render loop. We do our tick, we draw our grid, we do the animation frame. Inside the animation frame, we count down the counter. If the countdown is 0, right, which it's not,
Right.
then nothing happens. It never renders the loop again.
Okay. So, I had thought like, okay, wow, so in Python I would have had to have declared like a while loop somewhere for this, and somehow this just knows even without a while loop, but no?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Oh, I
the
should have
one.
said something.
Sorry.
Should have asked my
Sorry.
question. I don't know. I don't know why
Always.
I didn't ask my question.
You know that with me,
Mhm.
Laura, you can always ask the question.
Yeah, I don't know. Mm. Okay. So where can we put is it a while loop that we need, or some
No,
sort of analogous situation?
no,
Hmm.
no, not quite. What we're going to do instead is instead of calling render loop again, which was a mistake on my end, Flacky's got it right. We're going to we're going to do our countdown, which is going to call every 60 seconds.
Okay.
But instead of calling render loop again, we're instead only going to call universe tick if we've made it to the end of the countdown.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're actually going to remove everything. I'm really sorry. We're going to replace the insides of the regular brackets of request animation frame with render loop, but we're also going to move the countdown. So lines 95 to 97
Mm-hmm.
will move.
Okay.
So
But 97 is halfway through an if statement?
yes, it
Okay.
is.
And where are we putting them?
Between 90 and 91. Then between 94 and 95, we'll put a closing curly bracket. 90, no. So the universe tick has to go between 93 and 94.
Sorry.
All good.
The other
You're fine.
94 and 95.
And remove the X. Oh, sorry. So request animation frame open bracket
Mm-hmm.
and delete everything in there. Inside those brackets. Yep. That line 100 as well.
Uh-huh.
So we can delete that. Line 99 can go. And the curly bracket, Flaky is apologizing when he shouldn't. He was helping. You are wonderful. Thank you, Flaky.
Yes.
So line 99, you see that closing curly bracket? We can delete that one.
Okay.
And let's move that smooth bracket back up.
Back up.
To line 98. So that it's one line. So let's merge lines 98 and 99. Then remove that anonymous function.
Okay. Gotcha.
And just putting render loop in there.
As an argument?
Yes.
Okay.
Now,
So we're just recursively calling render loop, right?
Yeah, kinda. We're telling in line 98, right? We're telling the browser like, hey, when you're ready to render another frame, call render loop.
Mm-hmm. And we're doing it inside render loop. So wouldn't that be?
I think the reason I'm hesitant to say it is, and maybe it is, but the reason I'm hesitant is because we're kind of firing off an asynchronous function, which is request animation frame. Say, hey, when you're ready, call this function. So it's not like we're calling the function from within that function.
Okay.
Instead, we're saying, hey, you know, when you're ready, call me. So I don't know. I does that make sense? Or
Kinda.
at least my hesitancy?
Yeah.
Laura, the last thing I want to do is reset our countdown to be 100, if I may. Or wait, if it's called 60 times per second, let's change it to a 10. That way it'll be called 10 times a second. I think that's a reasonable amount, right?
Sure. Okay. So now we'll refresh over here.
Yeah.
Yay! And it works.
But wait, pause it again.
Uh-huh.
Now click on a random dead cell. Click it again.
Focused.
Flaky is correcting my math. Flacky's saying it will be called 6 times a second, but should be good still. Yes, of course, because there are 60 frames in a second, not 100.
Base 60.
So Flaky
Curse
says,
of the Babylonians, right?
right. Flaky also says request animation frame needs to call render loop on every invocation, otherwise render loop stops being, well, a loop, which makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, cool. So we've got it drawing at 10 at 6 frames per second. How does that look? Could you play it again?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Let's try something, Laura, if I may. Could you pause it again?
Mhm.
And draw us a spinner. Let me look up the docs here. From our rules. What is it? What is this? Is it called a spinner? Let me just get that real quick. Well, I don't even know if it's called a spinner. Yeah, that one here.
Okay. The
So
line
a line of 3 cells.
3. Okay.
Flaky says y'all should contribute back a speed setting. Oh, did you do it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's right here.
There's our little spinner. Do you want to try drawing a spaceship just for fun?
Sure. How does that
If you don't mind
look?
indulging me.
Yeah. Bring that over here so that I can see it. Okay. So spaceship. Pause, spaceship. What do you look like?
Can you pause a GIF?
No. But I wanna. Okay. So what does that look like?
Okay, it is 2 on top.
Okay. 2 on
I'll just
top.
kind of do this by eye.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Oh,
draw 2 of them. Something wrong?
Yeah. Okay.
And then below the rightmost one, draw another 2. Delete that rightmost one. And to the left of the last one you added, add 1.
Like this?
Yes, but also another one just to the left of your cursor. Now, the leftmost one you have, draw another one left of it. Now, draw a line below that connecting, all the way to the right of our spaceship.
Like that?
No, wait. Remove the rightmost one of that line. I'm sorry, this is a mess and I apologize.
That's okay.
And then go to the leftmost side of our spaceship. Then go 1 down and 1 to the right. And draw 1 and then another one to its right. Our spaceship is ready.
Okay. Yay!
Look at it go. I think it's going to mess up when it reaches there. Yeah.
Oh, look how pretty.
Whoa. This is why I love the game of life, because it's just kind of, what is it doing? And remember, this is running in WebAssembly.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah. But Flocky's right. We could have, I wish we weren't a half hour over time. I'd love it if we could add a speed setting.
Okay.
but maybe next time.
All right.
Let's see what we got next anyway. Time profiling. We're gonna next week. Well, if we do this next week again,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna be.
Okay. Well, perfect.
We're actually gonna be. Yeah, checking
Doing the
the
thing.
performance of our. Yeah, doing all that math we were just doing.
Yep. Okay. Well,
Cool.
awesome.
Well, that was fun.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Laura. Flaky, thank you for all your help.
Yes. Thank you, Flaky.
Yeah.
And thank you, Ramon.
Oh, it's always a joy.
Likewise.
All right then. Well, thank you all for watching. Thank you for joining. If you're watching async, feel free to join. We're doing this just about every week,
Mhm.
and yeah, enjoy your day, everybody.
Yes. You too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.